Right, we're kicking Series 2 off of the Paddock. Welcome back, Lucky. Welcome, Dom Matcham, the boss of Invades and Doe, and a big week for you. Exciting for racing fans as well, because we're going to see Constitution Hill, hopefully, this Friday. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, can't wait. It's going to be a big evening. It's our second one of the series. So we had Newcastle last week and Southall this week. So yeah, and even Lucky's coming, apparently.
I am coming to Southall. So Martin Craddock came on my show. We had a good, frank exchange of views, and it culminated in me saying, yes, I'm coming to Southall. I want to see Friday Night Live for myself. I wonder if I can persuade you to come with me. Friday Night Live? Do you want to come Friday Night Live?
I would love to.
All right.
Yeah, I'll definitely be allowed out. How are you? Things?
Friday Night Live?
Oh, good to see you. All right.
Yeah, good, thanks.
Take a seat, lads. There's lots to get through, because Friday Night Live, obviously, will grab a lot of the headlines this week, obviously Rishi's tucking into the food immediately.
The speed that your arm reached for that poor pie.
But welcome back. Thanks for joining us once again on the Paddock. Let's crack on and get straight into it.
I saw this thing the other day. It's like the fifth pancake is the good one. Horse racing has been going on 200 years, and there's been university students all of that time.
And do they tell you, as I say,
you love this data. It's like a data scientist. He wants us to interview and do a questionnaire with all of them. He loves the gigs.
DJ Matcham.
So if you're making this much effort, by the way, if you're just listening to this and not watching it, my hand's kind of high above my head.
You know what you're in for.
You know what you're in for.
Yeah.
You're getting dressed up as a penguin, whatever it is.
Dom, we touched on it briefly there, but obviously it is an exciting day to have such a high-profile horse at kind of a meeting that you and a few others are the brainchild of. It is on the back of last time out at Newcastle. What have you learned from Newcastle? What are we going to see this Friday?
So I'd say, Newcastle was our first time we've really been on TV as a brand. The Invades brand, obviously, is pretty much exclusively on TikTok and Instagram. I think producing a TV show is really different to making social media clips. And I think we sort of learned probably the hard way that actually in terms of the content that went out on the night, we weren't particularly happy with it. And there's going to be a lot of changes made. Unfortunately, I don't know if you know, there was like a quite bad train incident. So our head of content couldn't make it to the racecourse. Martin Craddock couldn't make it to the racecourse. The talent who we were going to have on the show couldn't make it to the racecourse. So we basically had a bare bones team producing the content. The weather was also awful. I don't know if you saw that. It was like biblical rain. But the positive is, I think it was one of the most attended all-weather fixtures that's ever been, certainly on a Friday night, and the atmosphere was really, really good. We had DJs inside, then we had fashion show catwalk, we had cheerleaders, we did our dating segment. And in terms of you can't do anything about the weather, but I think from a customer perspective, we had really good feedback.
Betting turnover was up as well.
Betting turnover was up, I think, and I think there was 98 runners. So loads of runners in the racing was competitive. It's not the highest quality racing, but it was definitely competitive. So for anyone coming for the first time to the races, there's not exactly a 2-horse race. So it was exciting from that perspective. But yeah, we were trying to really just roll it into Friday. We've obviously got our content team back and going to make some tweaks to the content. But yeah, there's been loads of Paddy Power made an advert about the event, which I don't know if you guys saw.
Oh yeah. The guy that hates everything,
Very good. Very funny.
The guy that hates everything.
But the thing is, in TV, you don't really get the luck. I mean, you do if you're doing a drama, right? But if you're doing a live sporting event, you don't really get the luxury of a pilot. Do you know what I mean? So you can't really trial these things before they go to air to a certain extent. And then things you're mentioning, like train delays where some of your team couldn't make it, the weather, there's things slightly out of your control.
The weather sort of, even just from a filming perspective, in a lot of where we were filming wasn't covered. So you could see water on the screen, the mics are all wet. It's just a really, I saw this thing the other day, it's like the fifth pancake is the good one. But we've had the first one. But you don't get to the good one unless you get to the fifth one if you don't do the first one. So it's very much a learning.
What was the feedback like? Because obviously we in racing world, we only saw the racing feedback, which is always going to be cynical to a huge extent. Was there other outside of that usual loud noise of negativity, or did you get
Yeah, really positive feedback from our customers. Like the customers said it was a great night. We usually take customers from Durham to Redcar or Sedgefield. So taking to Newcastle, way bigger race course, a lot more facilities, all of that.
So you had them Durham Uni, Newcastle.
Durham, Newcastle, Northumbria.
Right.
But yeah, if outside of in other race courses on a Friday night, you would not expect a crowd that size. So like Invade's involvement in that day, the FNL aspect, and it being live on ITV is definitely, we're creating a unique event per se. In racing terms, there's nothing like that elsewhere in the UK.
I guess you've got that balance between the people going and then the people watching on TV. And you are catering, I guess, for two completely different audiences to an extent. And you might see that with Constitution Hill as well. I don't know how many, there's going to be a lot of people tuning in who go, I want to see how this horse gets on the flat. Yeah. What percentage of your customer base do you think are going there giving any kind of a thought to Constitution Hill, if any? Genuine.
I'd say the majority of our customers are first or second time race goers. So therefore, for them, the activity is going to the races, and then the hype around the horse, and them just coming to the races maybe for the second time, they become more interested in the participants, who's riding it, who's trained it, who owns it, what the different horses, what the odds, all of those things. But I think the Invades, our goal really is to bring new customers into the sport who've never been to a racetrack in their lives. So, and I think a lot of them are coming probably more for the Invades event.
Do you get them through do you say to racing and the conversations you have with Martin Cruddas, Arc, whoever, right? Do you go, we'll get them through the gate, and then racing, it's your responsibility to get them back? Or do you yourself have plans and tactics is probably the wrong word, but things in place to ensure that those customers are learning about the sport and are hopefully going to come back? Or do you just kind of hand the baton over to racing once they're through the gate?
There's no like invade strategy per se to in terms of keeping them within the sport. Our goal is to give them a great time so that they want to come back. And I think what we do sort of outside of race courses and racing is put on activations and put on things which probably keep them more interested on course. Because if you lose your money on the first race and then you're not interested in the rest of the day, you probably will have a negative experience. So we're doing things like the catwalk, speed dating, DJs, all the content you see on TikTok and social media. We're really doing a lot more. We're adding to the customer experience just to try and give them something more so that they come away and go, oh, it was a good day. Even if I didn't bet or if I lost money on the horses, that actually as an event and an entertainment product, it was good.
That question that Oli asked, I think, is a really important one, because if you think about some of the marketing campaigns that have been done by racing, for example, the Going is Good, which I think is due to be relaunched soon.
That was all about.
It's the same principle, which is get them into the race course. Someone else will have the responsibility of attracting them to the sport. And I guess one of the criticisms of Invades is the fact that you could replicate what you're doing at a race course at any other leisure event.
No,
or what is it specific to racing that makes it so attractive for you to use racing?
The Invades brand is about professional live sport and dance music, like a combination of those two. But horse racing is our main product. And why we like it is because from a spectator perspective, if you go and watch rugby, if you go and watch cricket, you need to probably follow that team. Whereas I think you can come into racing without too much knowledge, and you don't need to be a huge avid fan of either of the teams per se to have a good day. And then you layer in things like the music aspect, the fashion aspect, the betting aspect, which comes with racing, and you can actually have a way more casual fan enjoy the day. Whereas if you go and watch, I don't know, Gloucester versus Leicester, and you're not interested in rugby or either of those teams, what's in it for you?
Yeah, also, if you're watching a rugby match, football match, cricket match, whatever, you've got to have a block in the stands.
Yeah.
Whereas obviously these race courses are perfect for you because people can move freely, you've got big open space, and actually the smaller days, dare I say it, suit you better, don't they? Because you effectively can dominate the whole site.
Yeah, we look for unused capacity. And in global horse racing, there is plenty of unused capacity across racecourses.
So, what does a night at the races give your students, your punters, over and above sticking a tent in the middle of a field and having dance music and having an open bar?
That's something we'd never do. So our brand has always got to be centered around professional live sport, in person, and yeah, we always make sure that those two things are there. But yeah, I don't really understand the question.
If you ask a question like this, people think, well, oh, you don't like it. I do like it. I like the idea that you're getting a lot of young people, especially people who are based locally to the racecourse, because it's all about realising that there is a racecourse on your doorstep and you can go and enjoy an evening or a day there. I think it's great. I think combining live music with horse racing is fantastic, and you're giving a massive injection to meetings that wouldn't have them. But it's a question of the extent to which racing then becomes something that's attractive for the people that you're taking there, and how we measure that and how we know that.
Other than
Or is that somebody else's job? I mean,
no.
Fair enough.
I think if you look
at
at
our job as a sport to realise that rather than your job as the promoter.
well, if you look at the attendance figures are actually growing now across horse racing. It's the second most viewed sport in the UK from a spectator's perspective. We're unique in horse racing. There's never been a bigger independent promoter effectively bringing new customers into the sport. We're not measuring how engaged they are in the sport. That's, it's not our job. Our job is to bring lots of young people and give them a good time.
You're delivering the people.
Yeah.
It's for racing to then put something on that's attractive enough that they'll come back.
And they are racing putting something on is 7 races on the track.
Yeah.
And the BHA and all the racecourses do that very well.
So what are the other sports that you would take people to?
So we do cricket, darts, rugby, polo, rowing, women's football.
So in the respect that I think Nick was trying to allude to, and correct me if I'm wrong. So say, for example, another sport came along that was more attractive to racing that you could take them to. Well, I think what we were trying to, what certainly I was, and I think Nick was as well, is saying, what do you think that you say is the best thing about racing that you say to your customers? I'm going to take you to a day of the races because this is special because of, as opposed to any other
the races. It's more of an occasion. It's a longer event. It's, if you go to rugby or football, it's 90 minutes.
The dressing up as well, that's part of it.
Yeah.
Getting dressed up, I think it's part of British culture.
Drinking and betting?
Drinking and betting is both fun. So I think there's probably more to horse racing for the non-fan, like I say.
And here's where you can get a guide on how much your students are betting.
To an extent, but the data's it'd be very difficult to pull all of that data because you've got obviously on-course bookies, you've then got the tote, and then you've got everyone betting on their phones with whoever.
Yeah.
I don't know if the BHA or who tracks that data from a sort of meeting.
The firms are saying the turnover is good.
Yeah. I mean, we're working a bit with SPK, and they're saying it's amazing figures in terms of new customers signing up. But yeah, I not to be to bat the question back, but our job is to get the next cohort in, and racing across the board's welcomed us in. And actually, I quite like. We almost want to give Invades customers a unique experience. Yeah. Or else, why would you not just buy the ticket from the racecourse?
Exactly.
So it's about giving them the transport and all of these other add-ons, which make it a bit more fun.
And what do you think is particular to your brand of entertainment that, say, a racecourse couldn't do by themselves? So if the racecourse said, well, we're going to put tent here, get the students in, put this DJ on, put this bar on, etc. What do you think it is about Invades that makes students or whoever, or any young person go, yeah?
It's probably our marketing
Yeah.
that they can replicate, like the granularity.
It's a club. It's an individual.
Yeah.
Club. I've been through your social media feeds. It's the brand of. It's not Exeter Uni's racing team. It's not. It's Invades as their own brand, as a club, and there's something edgy and there's something cool about it to those people. That's what it seems to me. That's something they want to be part of.
And they know what they're going to get. They know they're going to get the transport.
Yeah. There's sort of optional. You can add transport. You can come without transport. But yeah, for us, racecourses are they're not often in the most accessible areas. So I actually do think the transport is really important. Somewhere like a Goodwood,
Massively important.
you can't get there without being on a bus or a car, really. There's no train station close by. But yeah, I think in terms of like anyone could have replicated this years ago. Like horse racing has been going on 200 years and there's been university students all of that time. Like we have done something which hasn't been done before, and we are the biggest independent promoter in the sport.
Yeah, and isn't this where live sport is going now? It's like we discussed before.
Live golf.
With where exactly where you're competing for people's attention, and if you're going to an event like this, I remember going a few years ago to the T20 finals at Edgbaston, and we all got dressed up, and we all just by coincidence Somerset were playing, and I'm a Somerset cricket fan, but I was going anyway, and I was going for a piss up. With my friends and to dress up. And it feels like that is the trajectory on which live sport is going. And if you want to compete for crowds, that is what you have to embrace. And it's then somebody's responsibility, I think it's the sports, to then hope that a certain amount of those customers stick. And I think they will, because they'll have had a good time. They'll be invested in that experience.
Exactly on that point. I've been talking about, so obviously I was thinking about you coming on this episode and thinking about the line of discussion. And one of the things that I find hard to weigh up is why there's negativity, like I say, in the sport of racing, for why Invades can't coexist with the existing client base. Because the existing client base is dwindling, as we know, but there seems to be the existing client base, where there's an element within the existing client base that bristles about Invades and what they do, which I find, I can't understand that, because there's room for both.
I categorically disagree.
As in,
but I don't think there is bristles, and I don't think there is friction. Like we're working with the Jockey Club, Arena Racing, Goodwood, York, Ascot.
not with the people organising it. I'm talking about the racegoers, the client base of racegoers.
But if those organisations considered our involvement to be creating friction, they wouldn't run our event.
No, I think, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think a lot of the reaction from your old school racing fan would go, there's no place on a race course.
Reaction what? On Twitter of a few, like 10 people?
Well, there might be people who go to the paddock and hear background noise of a DJ tent and go, this isn't what racing's about for me.
Yeah.
And I think Rishi's saying that it can coexist.
That element
But you're
the
only
regular
hearing
racing.
negative.
Yeah.
Like most people who have a good experience of anything, and not sport racing, they don't talk about it. Have a good experience and leave. It's a very few minority of loud voices who I don't think it's worth talking about. I genuinely.
Well, but the point that I was getting to was that if the experience of the day is the type of experience that Tom referred to, which is you could be there for a different number of reasons. So whether people come as Invades, whether people come as regular racegoers, you can all have a great day at the races.
Racecourses are massive.
Yeah. So I went to
you can easily coexist. Multiple different customer groups can have a great day and a tailored day at a racecourse. An owner and a trainer can sit in a nice room and have a fancy lunch.
Yeah.
Like our customer can be down there or in the middle. You can have your, horse racing purist who's watching all the horses in the parade ring, all of that. It's big enough. And I genuinely don't think there is friction. I don't see there friction. If there was a real problem, the organisations who run racing would not do our events.
Do you think you can create the next generation of fans?
100%.
And I suppose the obvious question is over, say, an average 3-year undergraduate course. So most of your clients are undergraduates, right? How many times do you think said undergraduate would go horse racing with Invades?
We'd probably see customers come to us, I'd say 4 or 5 times.
That's not bad, is it?
Yeah.
So a couple of times a year.
Second event of a year is usually 80% returning customers.
And do they tell you? Yeah, as I say, do they?
You love this data. It's like a data scientist. He wants us to interview and do a questionnaire with all of them. But this is the problem with racing.
Everyone who runs a business tells you that's the way it works, isn't it? Knowing your customers. Do you know, isn't knowing your customers everything?
Buying tickets.
Doesn't that?
It's a very binary. It's a very binary feedback loop.
Okay, go on.
If they keep buying tickets, they're enjoying it.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
And if our sales are going up, we're doing something.
So you're doing something right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And as sales consistently have gone up.
And what do you think? Okay. So so you've refined over the years presumably going to an Invades event now looks a little bit different to how it did. When did you first do one?
2019.
Right, so that's quite a long time now. Okay,
Yeah.
you had COVID in between times, but you've had 6 or 7 years of working out how to tinker with it to make it as good as you can possibly get it.
Yeah.
So if I walked in now to an Invade event, how would it differ from what it was in 2019? What have you done? What do you think you've done really, really well? What's been your biggest success?
I think content probably has been our biggest success in
better,
terms of.
better music?
We've had the same DJ.
Okay,
all
so
the way through.
same DJ all the way through.
We don't change that. We don't change that. DJ works.
And it's actually literally the same DJ at every event.
Mostly, yeah.
Brilliant.
Good guy.
He loves
He
it.
loves the gigs.
DJ Matcham.
No, not me. DJ Dominic John. Could be. No, so I'd say from so we've introduced the catwalk. That was really quite like a cool thing to
Fashion
do.
show type
We
thing.
basically go out and give out who we think's looking good, who's dressing well. It's also a really nice, subtle way to say this is the Invades dress code without saying this is the Invades dress code, by showing people who we consider this is like well dressed, and it is people making effort. Like we're not afraid of ties. We like ties, but we're not going to say you have to wear one. But we will put someone who's looking pretty fresh and smart onto the runway catwalk. And it's also doing it in a way which feels like a pop-up and there's lots of energy. Like you see lots of other catwalks at racecourses, it's all very like standoffy. There's no sort of energy around it. So I think the catwalk has been something for us which has worked really well. Speed dating's worked really well. That's got, I think, 40 million organic views on TikTok of people. Also, like horse racing is the event which brings them together and then they go on a date. Obviously, hopefully on Friday we'll have some new content on ITV, which would be good.
I think that's important because I think the feedback from social media reaction to the speed dating on ITV last week was that it probably didn't hit the mark that you wanted it to hit. But
honestly, it's probably one of our worst. If we wouldn't put that out on our channels,
right,
and it was going out on ITV terrestrial television, like it was one of the worst bits of content we've created, like, and therefore, rightly so, we're going to get slated. That's good.
But do you think though? Do you think some things are just for social media but do you think all that Invades does can transfer onto broadcast as part of the race day that we show or racing TV show or whatever?
I think it can, and I think it's important that all the people are wanting to consume the content because our views are good, and other channels like you guys will obviously create content personally on your channels on the social media, and a lot of the ITV stuff is clipped up for social media. But I think there's definitely there's an opportunity for broadcasters to be probably more like aligned with the fans and show like what's the fan experience of a big day. And if you're getting dressed up and there's, people you find attractive, like there is a romantic element to horse racing for sure. So I think hopefully in us working with ITV, we can start to show like what's the fan experience like as well as what's going on the track.
Yeah,
But it's not like we're learning a lot in the process,
Yeah.
and like we
that
are
kind of pulls
definitely
back to
not.
my first point about you're learning as you go. You don't get the luxury of pilots behind the scenes. You're doing this in front of everyone watching.
And Friday's going to be really interesting, isn't it? Because you've got like the biggest story in the sport coinciding with a big Invades night and a different type of show.
Yeah.
And that is going to be fascinating to see how that all hangs together. Have you got an idea in your own head how that's going to look and how you're going to exploit the Constitution Hill effect and the fact you're going to have a massive viewership on Friday night as well?
Yeah,
You're going to have your biggest viewership probably ever.
I think it's going to be. It's slightly. We're leaving a lot less to chance this week. Last week, the way in which Invades content has previously worked is it's all organic. We're literally finding the presenter on the day. We're finding the people on the day, and it is really like it. And if you're doing it for social media, there's no pressure for it to be perfect. Whereas obviously going out live on television, pretty much live, like we can't leave as much to chance as.
You can choose whether or not to put it out. And
Yeah,
that is
100%.
And that is the beauty of social media.
Yeah.
It can be as chancy and organic as you like, and when it works, great. And if it doesn't, hey, you don't put it out. But when it's live TV, it's
It's a completely
different
different thing. Like if you look at, we're always I'm personally very inspired by what like the Hearns have done for boxing, and the brand they've created in Matchroom. But like, that's a 20-year journey to create a media company,
Yeah.
that puts on these big events. We're still very early in the
Funny enough, Epsom have got Frank Warren Queensbury Promotions
Yeah.
helping out for the
Doing the
Derby.
hill,
There's
yeah.
a big push on getting people going to the Derby, which is the first Saturday in June, and I think that's a real push from the Jockey Club. I want to move it to a more broad point if we can, and obviously we'll get your thoughts from with your Invades hat on, etc. But I'll nail my colours to the mast. I think what you're doing in terms of bringing people to the races is really good, and I think it is, to a certain extent, racing's responsibility to ensure that they keep coming back by selling the Constitution Hill story well on Friday to what is largely going to be a new audience at the races. It's obvious that there's an appetite from racing to get youngsters coming racing and to grab the next generation. I think it's really important for the sport to do that. It will be probably a difference of opinion across the table here as to how we go about that. What do you think is the answer to getting young people at the races and maintaining it? That's the key.
I don't know what the answer is. I don't know.
What would you like to see?
But
But
what I would like to see, and that's why I asked Dom the questions that I did earlier on, and I think we've all sort of alluded to that, is racing is way behind everybody, all the other sports, and getting...
Is it?
Getting young people to...
It's 4% up. It's
That's because you're
it's the
bringing.
second. I don't think it's that far behind.
But Dom, it's always been the second best attended sporting events in the country. It's always been the second best, behind football.
But it's never gonna beat football.
Yeah, no,
it's second, which is really good.
But it's been second for as long as I've been involved in racing, and still racing is in the
does
position
racing
that
want
it
it
is.
to become one? Is that
No, racing doesn't want it to become one, but racing needs to change the demographic of people coming through the gates, which is the people who come for racing, which is what it's about. The people who come for racing are getting older by their generation, and the people who are coming in through for racing, you know, like in my time when I started going racing, the demographic that turned up at the races was far wider than what it is now for the racing. But there's been very little done to achieve the...
So this is where. So you're the front. End,
Yeah.
Right. So you're saying, I'll bring you the people.
Yeah.
And you're saying that's my job. I bring you the people. I know what works.
Part one. Excellent,
Right.
thank you.
Yeah.
Whatever. And by the way, don't interrogate me about this, and this.
Yeah.
Definitely
Because that's not. That's not up to me. I'm here to do this, and my punters keep coming back. Right. So when they do come back, what we're thinking is, okay, how do you keep them coming back beyond the time that they're students, etc. What is racing doing when they're getting an Invades audience in to actually make the product without them knowing it, but make the product more interesting?
But when you say racing,
no, I'm talking about the sport as a whole.
Yeah, I know. And
People
but
putting on the race day. So you're doing your bit.
yeah.
Are they thinking about, right, could we run the races every 27, 28 minutes?
Are you talking to the BHA or are you talking to the jockey?
The whole
I'm talking
of
everyone.
racing.
I'm talking to anyone.
Anybody in the
This is the problem.
Basically,
It's too fractured.
well, it's not really. I'm talking to people.
You've got literally
It's not
multiple
that hard.
organisations here. though.
You're talking about really the Arc and the Jockey Club, effectively. How to run a race day.
So we're now talking to
Are they thinking about
Arc and Jockey Club?
Are they thinking about the length of time between races? Are they thinking about the way horses parade in the press? Silly thing, but if you haven't been before, why can't horses parade in race card order? Why don't you see every horse in the paddock? Why are there yawning gaps between races, particularly on an all-weather meeting when you've got, say, small venue like Southall? Small venue like Southall, paddock's there, racecourse is there. It takes no time to move around. You could be running races every 25 minutes. Easily.
For everything you're saying there.
Why aren't the racecourse making sure that all the information about those races, those horses, bet types, different bet types?
This is BHA though.
Well, that's not BHA.
No, but in terms of, we get a lot of pushback from racecourses in terms of adapting the customer experience for our customers and other customers, that the BHA put the rules in place which prevent, certain things being changed. So like on Saturday, like a lot of, maybe I'm someone who doesn't like rules, but on Saturday we had like DJs between the races all the way through at Haydock Park.
Yeah, well, I'm all for that.
So the minute the horse finishes across the line, music goes on, DJ goes on, which is cool because it keeps a buzz around them.
So what's the problem with that?
So then we got to the final race. Bear in mind, we've been putting the DJ on as soon as the last horse crossed the line, we're then allowed to put the music on. We get to the final race, and we are told by the racecourse that we must delay the start of the music for at least 10 minutes after the last race. I was like, but we've been doing it, we've been playing music straight after the last race all the way through the day. So I don't understand what happens after the last race, why it's different to the ones during the day. And there's other things like music levels. So like if a horse wins at Cheltenham, comes into the winning enclosure, it's like a cauldron of noise. They're playing speakers at it. Thousands of people are screaming at the horse. If I play some music down, I don't know, miles away from the parade ring, it becomes the biggest issue. And for me, there is a lot of rules, for some of them outside the sport. When you talk about racing, I think like what you're talking about is rules from the VHA. It's not. I think the Jockey Club and ARC,
not just
they
rules
want
from
to
the
innovate.
VHA. No, not just rules from the VHA. Betting innovation, I think, is one thing.
Yeah,
You know,
and also not just the VHA, but you've got the National Trainers Federation, the jockeys. They're as you say, it's so fragmented. All the
It's
people
one of the most
going into
fragmented
making a
sports
decision
ever.
for all the things, but betting as well.
But what we as Invades, we don't care about the politics. All we want to do is crack on and bring lots of new faces into the sport.
But you want them coming. It's in your interest and the sport's interest that they keep coming back and 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 back.
And
That's gonna help you. It's gonna help.
But there are ideas around that. So talking about how you capture them, and I know that I always on a paddock normally sort of waffle on about some idea that I have, right? And I've spoken to various people about having a festival in a town and having like the official after party to an event being a music festival outside of it. I've spoken about it on the paddock before. I think what you're saying is absolutely bang on. Have an area, have some music, play it afterwards. It's not really getting in the way of anything that's going on 100 metres further down and whatever. If you're a racing fan, you can go and see the horse into the paddock. At Aintree for the Grand National, the Red Rum Lawn is essentially a nightclub.
Yeah, totally.
But what I would say is that there's a lot of people going racing who have never been racing before. You talk a lot about content. You could have really cool food pop-ups. Eating with Todd is a TikTok star who's got a massive following. Top Drawer, obviously huge. Have some of those cool pop-ups come to the races. So you've got people going to the races because they like food. They might like the DJ. But what's important, I think, is to, within that area or nearby the Invades area, have a educative welfare stand so that if people are interested in what racing does to protect the welfare of the horse, they can see it. They don't have to go and see it, but it's there. Have something where there is a racing expert nearby so that if someone wanted to ask a question, they can. These aren't hugely costly things. These are pretty
Or you need
easy
to change the rules for any of these.
and I don't know whose responsibility that is, but I think that's a really easy way to just allow people organically the opportunity to go and learn if they want to learn. They may not, but some people may. And then within that, that can kind of spread
Isn't it
out.
about matching the effort, right? So if you're making this much effort, by the way, if you're just listening to this and not watching it, my hand's kind of high above my head. If you're making this much effort to get people there, then if ARC or Jockey Club or whoever's done a deal with you to get them there, they need to match your effort. That's what I think. The effort needs to be matched.
So whilst you're doing what you're doing, and but you're doing what you're doing anyway. You know, that's what you've been doing prior to Friday Night Live, and now you're obviously learning on the job with that. But the race courses, whether it's ARC, Jockey Club, whatever, they need to now start using the opportunity that you're presenting them with. And that's actually
fair, Jockey Club and ARC, there's certain things so there's equisizers at Cheltenham we had this year.
Yeah.
They allowed them to cross, so we're usually in Best Mate at Cheltenham, and they allowed them to cross over into Club and Tats with their ticket, which I think was really good, because it's like, if you want to experience Cheltenham in all its glory, you can't do that from Best Mate.
Yeah.
So
Do you have Best Mate for all of the festival?
no, so we're actually doing Wednesday of festival on the Tats side. So we're selling Tats tickets.
Okay, that's interesting.
And then we're doing an after party in the sales ring.
Wicked.
I think there's a balance there, isn't there? Because you don't want it to be so segmented. You don't want your client base to be so segmented that they're not getting the normal experience, but equally they're going to be having a different experience to your traditional punter. And your family and a family day out to an extent. You know, if you when you buy a ticket to the 100, for example, you can buy a family stand ticket so that you can go there with your kids and you're not going to be surrounded by a load of people who after 4 hours are going to be hammered. But I guess the race course is more of a free for all, right?
Well, this is, if you compare it to darts, for example. Like if you're going to the darts at the Alley Pally, there's really one experience there.
You know what you're in for.
You know what you're in for. You're getting dressed up as a penguin, whatever it is. Whereas on a race course, there's so many stakeholders who are all after different experiences, and race courses by their size can cater for all those different subsets. So, like, that's the challenge of horse racing. Rishi, I'm sorry to come back to you, but I don't see there being that much friction
But do you,
with Invades anymore. In terms of the industry, like everyone is accepting of what we do. But, like the only thing you see is just like these people on Twitter who will literally complain about anything. So
Okay, but my point being,
I don't think we need to give them the airtime.
the industry, I totally hear what you're saying, because the industry are starved, Dom.
Yeah.
They're starved of ideas and some way of turning the desire to bring new audiences in, and you're an automatic solution. So that's obvious.
But I think
the industry are on your side, and a lot of people in the industry are on your side. But even if it's a few people on Twitter, it is still voices. But what I'm saying is, also, there are people who go racing who originally, when you started, and even to this day, they still make the point that there are people from Invades who don't make their enjoyment of the day because you are a different type of experience. And what I was saying earlier was the coexisting of both can happen.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you think Invades can go beyond just students?
Yeah, for sure. Like,
Does it have to end when you're
it's not
21 or whatever? Can this push through just young people everywhere?
So yeah, the Invades brand is moving to a place where we're really for young people, music and sport. Like that's our brand. And actually, we're trying to stop really talking about students so much. So I think if you go to a student event, the minute you graduate, you go, I'm not going to go to a student event because that's weird.
Yeah, that's what we're
So yeah, we're moving and doing activations with the Jockey Club at Cheltenham and Aintree. Like we're just selling to young people, basically. And then obviously we've got our other brand, which is Doe, which is we're staffing. So at Royal Ascot this year, we'll staff 250 betting staff, and at Cheltenham this year, we've got 200 staff across.
what is Doe, just for those that don't know?
It's effectively a staffing agency for young people to find flexible work.
Right.
But racing our biggest client is racing.
So is it mainly holiday
No,
or is it student gigs?
all year round. So anyone who, Give Me Dough Please is all about flexible work, so probably 0-hour contract stuff. So people can do that around their studies or other jobs. And then we're launching Big Dough, which is proper jobs, effectively. So people who want more of a career. So Big Dough is career focused.
So Big Dough is not 0 hours contracts.
No.
That's proper PAYE.
Yeah,
jobs.
Well, the Dough is PAYE, but horse racing, like Invades coming into horse racing, there's multiple, obviously we're bringing lots of people, there's betting turnover, there's food, drink, all of that aspect, but we're solving a lot of the employment issues within horse racing, which is good quality staff. Like staff quality at racecourses, I must say, is not the highest.
Oh, go on.
I'll leave it at that.
Oh, come on, you can't just dangle that out there.
That's just,
So you're providing better quality staff from the...
Hence the pitch. Our staff are better.
Go on, why?
Just more engaged. They've come as a customer to a racecourse before, so they understand what a customer at a racecourse would expect.
So they're all basically Dough is supplying people who've all been Invades.
Yeah.
Do they have to have been on?
No, they don't have to have been, but that's where
that's your
that's where we're
database.
recruiting from, effectively.
So you earlier you were saying, why are you interested in all this data capture? That's exactly what you're all about.
Life comes at you fast.
No, for me, then.
You're the archbishop of data capture. Yeah.
One thing, you are very positive about horse racing as an industry, right? You are saying it's well attended. It feels like you're saying it's a great sport. You're not coming in here saying I have Invades, racing's in the shit, and I'm going to fix it. You seem very positive about it, which I love and hear and want. I wish more people were like that. I'm interested. You're obviously a very good marketeer with what you've done. If you were appointed tomorrow as the next BHA CMO, it's your job to market this sport. Are you very positive about it? What are you leading off with? What is racing good at? Other than data.
Am I being interviewed?
Yeah. I'm not the person being given away that job.
No, I think within racing there is a lot of negativity. If you speak to the man on the street, go, do you want to dare the races? They go, yeah, sounds fun. Like it needs to be, it's simple, it's over talk. Like within the sport, there's so much infighting, there's so much politics. Like none of it matters. And racing, and like when you say racing, it just annoys me slightly because it's like the big they. Like who is that you are talking about? And there's too much of that in racing. Everyone's blaming each other, but in reality, you ask them out on the street, do you want to do at the race? They're like, yeah, sounds fun, let's go. Like it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. And I'm really positive on the sport and I'm going to build a business within it. And we're committed to the sport long term. Like doing the deal with ARC that's been a change for us because we've never really had any investors. But they're also very committed to the sport. They put huge amounts of prize money into the sport across their days. So yeah, we're definitely really positive.
So did you like that Going is Good campaign, which effectively
we supplied all the people for it.
Did you?
Yeah.
So
they came
all the
people
actors?
you see in the video are
All the extras?
Invades customers.
Okay.
So the agency reached out and said, can you find, well, they're basically like, we want Invades customers for the advert. So we're fine with that, yeah.
And it feels like, I mean, it's really hard, I guess, to measure whether that is directly responsible for the upsurge we saw in attendances. But I think at the time, a lot of people looked at it and went, I can't remember, was it 4 million? I can't remember exactly how much it was, and went, where's that gone? You know, because of what you saw. But I think that goes to show that we, you know, certainly I and a lot of people, we don't know where it's going. And that's where the money seems as though it was very effectively spent because of the upsurge we've seen in attendances.
I would invest locally if I was in charge of a national budget. Because each racecourse is different and each community and catchment area around a racecourse is different. And you've really got to understand, like, you've got to market to that group in a different way. I also think groups are really untapped in horse racing. Like, we focused around the university community, but there's plenty of other communities around racecourses, care homes, you know, lots of other adult sporting groups, all of these things. I think racing, as you like to call it, from like the top perspective, should help racecourses invest locally into their community.
Totally agree.
Because the local catchment area, Foss Lass, is very different to Goodwood. And understanding the difference of those customer bases is key. That's what we've done. Like, we've just taken a segment and created a product and a marketing strategy which is relevant to that group. Like, it's not rocket science. We're basically a bus company.
Completely agree with you. I mean,
we are. That's all we do.
Bus, right? What's the?
I don't have a bus. No.
Why not? What's the bus I've seen on the racecourse? The bus.
Oh, that's the WKD bus.
Oh, is
They're
it?
like that.
There you go.
Bit of airtime, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, I have.
Paid by WKD. No, it's good. Like, but yeah, I also think transport is key for racing.
You mentioned about sort of you're not interested in politics. You've referenced a few times Lucky saying racing as a whole. But
it's like the big they. It just doesn't.
But what I would say is, if there are customers that come through Invades that question the welfare in the sport, and I know there was that clip from the Racing Foundation conference which did the rounds on social media regarding your comments regarding welfare. I can't remember exactly what you said, but perhaps you could remind us or certainly answer the question in the new guys.
It's definitely not my job to talk about equine welfare.
So when
I'm not qualified.
For sure, I'm not going to ask you about the sort of ins and outs of equine welfare, but what do you think, do your customers that come on the Invades bus, do they have any concerns around welfare?
No, because they got on the bus.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that this is a really interesting point, because I think the horse racing as an industry has spent a lot of time recently putting welfare front and centre, not of a campaign per se, but being open about welfare. And I think quite rightly, so that all the data is out there. Horsepower, we know, I think is an excellent site where people can go if they have any concerns. But I think what I was interested in with you, we focus on 18 to 25-year-olds, the decision makers of the future, having welfare concerns. Well, if they've got welfare concerns now, we don't address it, what decisions are they going to be making in the future? But you're saying that you're not seeing a lot of pushback on that.
You're saying
because they are going.
Their feet. Yeah. I don't want to put words in your mouth. When you said people don't care about welfare,
when did I say this?
That gets taken.
I don't think I've ever said that.
And then clipped up on words, whatever the words were. Work with me here, because I'm trying to interpret that, and I'm trying to interpret it in a way that I think you meant it, which was that all the welfare messaging is good, but you wouldn't lead with it. It's not your top line as a marketing campaign. I think that's what you meant. You're talking about it being on the side of the horsepower campaign being on the side of buses and that sort of thing. You're saying that's not the way that I would promote the sport. Top line, get people at the gate.
No,
Yeah.
no, I don't.
I think that's what you were trying to say.
Without putting words
Am I
in my
wrong?
mouth, Nick. No, I like it's like you say. It's very good that there's been studies done. There's professional people, vets, all of that who've gathered that information and put it in a digestible format for the public. That's
Put it in
good.
the public domain, yeah.
But that's not a leading marketing campaign. Yeah, but
So what would your leading marketing campaign fun?
Yeah.
For British
Simple,
racing, what
fun.
would your tagline on the back of the bus
It's
be?
fun.
It's fun.
It's fun. It's great.
Don't you think everyone agrees with that?
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, but it's easy. It's overcomplicating. Like I think the Ascot campaigns are really good, and I think Goodwood market their stuff really well. I definitely think horse racing should try and be more aspirational. Like, it's a traditional British sport, and like we shouldn't shy away from that. I think it should be, it should be something that people want to be seen at.
Do you think that tagline though is quite antiquated to sort of rely on the heritage of the sport? 2026 Britain is very different
But if you look at
to
all the fashion,
1901 when it was the sport of kings and all the royals were going.
I think all the. Sorry, what was the question, Ali?
As in, do you think relying on the tradition of the sport is quite outdated because the landscape we live in now, it's far more urban than 50 years ago, 100 years ago when it was the sport of kings. You walk down your high street, wherever you live in a city, it's a very different landscape to what you would see in a crowd at a race course. So to rely on the sport of
No, it's just a modern interpretation of heritage.
Right.
That's what I'd say. But look at the best and biggest brands in the world. They're always looking at their heritage and bringing it into the modern world. So, no, I definitely, I just think, making the sport more aspirational. I think showing people getting dressed up in the right way is cool. I think focusing on the owners as well is something that's really untapped.
Yeah. Ted Walsh made this point on the Paddock actually.
Rich Ritchie, what's his name?
Rich Ritchie.
Rich Ritchie. He's cool. People I want to know more about this guy. He's a big banker. He wears dark glasses. Like a bit of the pizzazz back.
Well, you saw that in the American show you were part of, where the owners were really front and center.
Yeah, well, we know that. We know
want to know, what's their story?
Yeah.
Like, how have they come to own a racehorse? Who's the owner of Constitution Hill? I want to know about who is that guy? Well, how has he come to owning this horse that everyone's talking about? Like, it is cool. And I also think people like the rock star, we need more personalities in racing. We need stories and people which transcend the sport. You look at someone like Luke Little, like everyone's talking about Luke Little.
Yeah.
Like when we get a star, we need to blow them up even further. Whereas I think, Oisin Murphy is basically being silenced. I don't know, no one wants to talk to him anymore.
You can't find Luke. You can't go and find Luke Littler though.
You can't.
Luke, it's just realizing what you have when you have it.
Exactly. Naturally in sport, you will get stars come through, and when they do come through, racing's job. Back to your point, maybe the BHA or Great British Racing, there should be funding available.
Does Great British Racing still exist?
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
There should be funding available for people from a PR perspective and a comms perspective. Like, we've got an amazing story here, which needs to get outside of Racing Post and the tiny column inches which is given to horse racing.
They've definitely tried though. To give them their due, Great British Racing and various different individual organisations have tried to make stars.
But we need to keep going. It's
for sure, but then I guess the question comes to how much of a responsibility is it on the horseman, the jockey, to promote themselves, to allow that connection between participant and fan. It's easy to go, Great British Racing needs to promote, but there is also an onus on them to.
They've got to have an appetite. They've got to have an appetite for it.
But it's not
everyone's.
I don't think it's for a lack of trying.
No, it's hard. It's definitely hard.
The whole thing is all encompassing. That's why when we talk about, Invades bringing part of the element to it. There's all the other stuff. When we use the phrase racing or whatever, there's all of it is related to the next bit, because you can't have promotion without spending money. You can't promote them without funding. And if there's no funding for GBR or anything, where's that funding coming from? Well, it's coming from people coming to the races.
It's actually coming from people betting.
And people betting.
And that's
when they come to the races,
beginning and end of everything. The people you bring to the sport need to be betting.
Yeah.
I don't mean they need to be betting there and then on the night in every race and doing their entire student
Lucky
load.
wants the data.
I do want the data, but what I want them to be doing is to be sufficiently engaged that they want to have a bet on the sport, because without people betting, the sport dies, and it's as simple as that. So
I think sports betting is prevalent across every sport. Of course, not just horse racing.
Of course,
it's like
it's
a core funding pillar.
But the difference in horse racing is that it is, the umbilical cord is there for everybody to see.
Do you think the sport can do more in that area?
I'm really looking forward to going to Southall, because I'm really looking forward to seeing how the racecourse interacts with Dom's customers, and what they're doing to get Dom's customers betting and watching. As well, because I know all your stuff's going to be great. I know I'll go down there and go, this catwalk's really cool. All these people who are half my age, less than half my age, are having a brilliant time. My kids might be here in 3 or 4 years' time, hopefully, because I'd love them to go racing and get into it. So I want to see where the opportunities are for the sport to really understand your customers and to keep them. And to make them watch and make them bet.
Yeah.
And I'm
You're
genuinely
going to report back next week on that.
And the other thing, from a TV point of view, because you're producing entertainment content, that the live sport element of it is taken care of by ITV Racing, who are doing a great job week in, week out, pretty much every single race course in the country. Producing top quality entertainment television is extremely hard and extremely expensive. And that's where, if you're going to try and marry the two on a Friday night, that's going to be your biggest challenge, isn't it? So I don't know. That's the way I would see it.
What you guys might know? Why is horse racing not on the first tab of BBC Sport?
It hasn't been for.
But it's like the second.
Yeah.
It's the second most. I saw it the other day. I was like, why is it not rugby league is higher up the pecking order on the BBC Sport than. Well, it doesn't. Horse racing doesn't feature on the main bar.
Well, BBC lost horse racing in 2012.
And look, I know that Rishi and I have an ITV hat that we have on as well. And the one thing I would say to add to Lucky's point is their commitment to racing is extraordinary. It's over 110 days plus a year. ITVX, taking podcasts now about racing. There's a real.
Are they taking this one?
No, not yet.
Let's do our best.
You might have to change the personnel.
But the point is that there is a real commitment
Ollie and
from ITV. Another 5 years, they're involved in Friday Night Live with you guys. I think actually, and I know that this probably sounds, people roll their eyes at me saying this, but fair play to the bosses at ITV, because
yes, absolutely.
Because when other organisations like the BBC are probably pulling back a bit from the sport, newspapers are probably cutting their copy back of racing. ITV have really kind of beaten the door down in that.
Why?
I say
why
that
is that?
biased.
Why is that? Because horse racing is at the moment ITV reputationally it's been very good. It's been the coverage has won BAFTAs and so on and so forth. But
Ollie's won a BAFTA.
but
Oli Bell.
No, I haven't. The team.
it makes money.
Yeah.
ITV is a commercial outfit, and the sport is making ITV money week in, week out because of bookmaker advertising. So again, the people have got to be betting on the sport in order for ITV to be showing it. So it's that virtuous circle needs.
Yes, it's not obviously for ITV commercially. It makes sense, but for the BBC, for example, once they'd dropped racing in 2012. There's no need for them to have it front and centre, but also the challenges of welfare and issues within the sport meant they'd rather stay away from it. And the only thing that really makes, it's very rare that positive stories make it to the BBC Sport website on racing. It's, the negative ones, they'll run with those as well.
And how shy were the BBC of the Grand National by the time they finished covering it?
Yeah, and also the viewing figures compared, 15, 20 years ago. When I first started on the BBC 20 years ago, it was, 10 million watching the Grand National. What is it?
I always think that's a slight false dichotomy, really, because now you can watch it. You don't need to be sat at home round the fire with your family watching the Grand National at 4:15 on Saturday. You can be out when your kids playing football, watching on your phone or whatever on your betting sites.
But everyone figures in general across the board have dropped.
Yeah, for sure.
And
I
racing.
think it's a good Twitch product, like streaming.
Yeah. So actually, funny
like racing blogger. He's quite funny.
Tom and I filmed a pilot, actually. We probably shouldn't give the game away too much, but not that it's going to go anywhere. We filmed a pilot.
It was a while ago, yeah.
But we did a watch along, me, Tom and Nick Goff, and we
So
just
like a Soccer Saturday type thing.
Absolutely, we just watched the racing for an hour on Zoom, him in his living room, mine in mine, Nick in his living room in Epsom. We were betting,
Chatting.
watching the racing without showing the racing on the screen, but going, I've backed the horse.
Don't the Racing Post do that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did they nick your idea?
No, we tried to nick theirs. But you've seen the football ones have become so popular.
But now-
with these people watching and their reaction to the goal.
100%.
Yeah, they love
Sky are
it.
doing a watch along without showing the fans what they call it in the box or something.
in the box where they just
a guy who's a season ticket holder at United and
United Strand.
and you're basically watching people's reactions. It's all reaction. There is this investment now in people's reactions. You want to see people head in hands. A bit like we were talking about with Blogger and things like that.
Maybe
want to
we
see
could get Dom not to cut his hair until Constitution Hill wins a race over hurdles. Like the guy who won't cut his hair till United win 5 in a row. We will have
But racing needs things like that. Like, I know it's a funny thing, but so many people are talking about it.
Yeah.
Racing needs reasons.
Sorry, that's racing.
Yeah, racing.
Yeah.
Like the sport as a whole.
Yeah.
We need people from outside the sport
You got there.
going, have you heard about what's going on in the sport?
Yeah.
And whereas at the minute, everyone's just sort of chatting amongst themselves, infighting within the sport, grumbling.
Yeah, the thing is about that is a lot
but
of the
it's
time
boring.
racing copy other sports and what they do. Actually, it needs to be original
Totally.
content that comes through that other sports look at. I'd love for racing to have ideas that are stolen by football or rugby
But
or whatever.
like United Strand is that's not like the FA going. That's not the FA going, oh, right, let's pay this guy in his boxer shorts in Manchester to just grow his hair out.
Yeah.
Like, that's him just being like, how can I blow up? And this is a thing I can do. Genius. Like,
But there's a much larger sample size of people making football content on the internet than making racing content. So you're going to land on
hopefully.
something
But
in the atmosphere eventually.
I really think the best ideas come from the ground up. I think a lot of what happens in racing goes the other way.
But then I guess the final thing I will say, because we will need to wrap it up soon, is how much as someone who is quite innovative, who is bringing ideas to racing, are you sat in rooms with ARC, Jockey Club, the people that you're sort of professionally in bed with as such? How much are you going, let's try this, let's try that, and how receptive are they to new ideas? And are you bringing those ideas to the table?
Yeah, so like catwalk, we had singles and every idea I've pretty much proposed, they will help me get there with.
Right.
The biggest pushback they have at a course level is with the BHA and the rules that they have around the horses. So like, pretty much every single idea I've ever proposed to the racecourse level has gone, that sounds great, we want to do it. And it's just like and also then, facilitating from an operational perspective, like how a race day is very busy for a race course. They don't have huge amounts of staff. And I'm like, I want to do this circus acting. But like, they're as supportive they can be. But I'd say the biggest pushback we get is from BHA rules, which from someone outside the sport, a lot of them seem to make no sense at all. And I'm sure I'd love to actually spend some time with the BHA and understand the rules. Because
Have you tried?
No, we'd never really engaged with them on a professional level.
But surely if you rang them up and said, can I speak to you and find out what's going on? They would open the door.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, the BHA have been extremely positive about Invades from what I can see. They seem to have been pushing comms out about spend and betting turnover and whatever else. So
bending the rules this week.
Yeah.
14 instead of 12.
For Constitution Hill to
Yeah,
he
Bill's
got
side.
That's great.
Yeah.
Literally, like, we've got Ronaldo and Messi being like, they can play in the World Cup. And like, what? We were going to say, oh, sorry, no, you can't play. Like, crazy. I'm so glad they're bending the rules because that's great.
So just as we round it off, let's just pull it back to Friday. Is it sold out? Can people go if people are watching this?
No more. No, there is no more tickets.
Okay, that's good.
It's obviously Newcastle's a way bigger track,
Yeah.
so we're able to sell a lot more for Newcastle compared to Southall.
Do you know how they're going to manage? Because there's going to be, in addition to, so how many are you going to get in?
So we're selling up to 13.
How's he going to get it?
No. So you've got what, 1,000 people?
No, it's 1,300.
1,300.
Yeah.
And I mean, Southall's small.
Yeah.
There might be 2,000 or 3,000 people who want to attend just to see. He'll put that money on the gate. Might put that money on the gate.
Yeah.
No, I know.
Possibly.
It's literally like.
If he gets in.
But I'm envisaging.
I think he is running.
queues all the way back down. I don't know.
Yeah. So people can watch obviously on ITV4 this Friday and ITVX, and then I guess the Invades lot is sold out. But just to pull it back to it, what can we expect this Friday other than one of the best horses in training running, fingers crossed, and a competitive card? What can we look out for
So
on the show?
we've got the fashion segment, we've got the dating segment, we've got general vox pops. This from a TV perspective.
Yeah,
So yeah, we've got really 3 segments as part of the show.
great.
And then people coming in from Nottingham, Loughborough, Lincoln, I think Sutton Bonnet. Yeah, so 4 different locations we're putting people in.
And Lucky entering the catwalk competition, are you?
For sure. You better
Come on in.
Can we?
I'll be
pick you up?
definitely I'll be down. Would you call this a blazer? I don't know. Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Some
Ask the
some
I think that's more a blazer. Yeah.
So trendy.
Dom, thank you so much for joining us. A really interesting conversation. We've covered a lot there. Dom Matcham from Invades and Do there. Thank you, Tom, Lucky, Rishi. Thank you for tuning in, listening in as always. Make sure you like, subscribe at the Paddock UK, and we will be back next week. But for now, that's it. We'll hopefully see you all at Southall on Friday.